Very good day again. And so let us welcome our Vice President officially, please. Please take your seat. So today is a continuation of our program from when Vice President was here a few weeks ago, just last week. And as you are aware, this is one of the main commitments of the People's Progressive Party, and that is to make sure that we expand employment and provide opportunities for everyone. And no less a person is leading this effort. Our Vice President is also the leader of our party, and so let us welcome Vice President JAGDEO to speak to you this morning.
Thank you, colleagues, friends. So many of you would have been following the news, and you would have seen us going across the country, launching this program, getting people employed. Many of you probably would have heard about the reasoning behind why we need to launch this part-time program. And so today, I'm not going to bore you with all of those details. I'm just pleased that so many of you are here. The last time I came here, we had set aside an allocation for the region. That is about 1,000 jobs in this region. But I was told that they had over 2,000 applications. So that is why we're back in Region 5, having gone through the first set of people to get the others who would have applied for this program to be contracted so that they can start working. So from here I go to Paradise, where a number of other people from across the region who will be employed. Now, as I said before, you would have heard the justifications for this and why we need in the short term, as we get our economy going, we need to get people employed. Now, you know, we just came out of one of the most horrific issues that any government or anyone had to deal with, which was a global pandemic. And I made the point yesterday. I was in Portmore and Liverpool in Region 6, and I was saying to them that several generations of people have lived, been born, died without having to face a global pandemic. Now ours was the task. The first day we got into office, the country was shut down, and there was a threat to the lives of our people from COVID. They had no cure for COVID, there was no medicine, there were very few vaccines at that time, no vaccine had been approved at that time, and the world was in a panic. And that was the first thing that the PPP government had to deal with. And in the last 18 months, we have had to attend to this issue with a vigor and dedication that befitted the threat, because the threat was a real one to the lives of Guyana and our people and globally. And you would have seen that millions of people succumbed to this illness abroad. They died. Here in Guyana, we too had many deaths, but we've emerged better than most countries in the world, although we had a nuanced policy of addressing the issue, which was we kept our country open whilst tackling the pandemic, unlike many countries around the world where they just shut down. And even those countries that are shut down, like some in the Caribbean, their death rates are even higher than that of Guyana. But we managed to build up a capability from today, as I've explained before, from 40 tests per day when we got into office, because the country could have only done that. That's all they had capacity to do. Today we can do 5,000 tests per day. We now have a COVID hospital, fully functional ICU unit, skilled level, oxygen, everything there. We managed to store the world and get vaccines when developing countries couldn't procure any. 80% of our adult population is vaccinated. That is one of the reasons why we emerged from the pandemic less affected than many other countries. But it took up a lot of time and resources since the new government took place. We didn't anticipate having to do this. We thought struggling to get back into power to reverse what we saw were policies that would have affected our country significantly in an adverse way by APNO. And so here in Region 5, you know many of the things. When we campaigned, many of you may have gone to those. You would have heard us talking about the debilitating impact on agriculture, that the promises that were made in 2015 to the sugar workers, that they would not close any factory. The PPP was lying about this. As soon as the government came in, 7,000 sugar workers lost their jobs. The rice farmers were told in the Essequibo Coast that they would get $9,000 a bag for their paddy. First 2 weeks in office, the government said rice is not our business. They put the VAT on pesticides, on fertilizer, on machinery and equipment like tractors, combines, etc. Here in MMA, they increased the land charges as much as from $3,500 to $15,000 per year, the land and water charges for some types of land, and that's per acre. So agriculture could not prosper, but many other things too. The mining sector faced the same sort of taxation regime that led to loss of jobs. So we were campaigning on that, coming into office, restoring these things which we have done, creating more jobs. We said we restore the children grant, which we did. Now it's 25,000. We said we take it to 50,000 per child per year, which we will do. Doubling old age pension, scholarships for people, which we've done already. We promised 20,000 already, 11,000 scholarships in 2 years. That sort of thing. Housing, there was nothing done there. We said we'll do 50,000 house. So we didn't anticipate COVID, but we had to deal with it. And we've now emerged from it. And we've been fulfilling all of those promises. You don't see them visibly, but they have changed the entire environment now in which people are investing and creating jobs. And so we have returned to fast economic, not just economic growth, but in the non-oil sector. We have seen a massive growth in the economy and great linkages, and now a huge spurt of investments. But the investment seems to be concentrated so far in regions 3 and 4. And they're generating thousands of new jobs there, new hotels, 7 new international hotels, full range of oil and gas investment. So those regions have labor shortages for some types of skill. In the other regions, we still need to find jobs for people because you can't get the investments to flow as yet. And I've outlined a plan of how we will do that over the course of the upcoming years, right here in Berbice. This region is mainly agricultural based, so it's very hard. But we have now, if you see the president leading directly, we had leadership in CARICOM. Even since when I was president, we're the lead country on agriculture in CARICOM. APNO just gave that up. President Ali has now resumed that leadership. You see food security and the expansion of agriculture is the forefront of our agenda. Came here at MMA and launched a program where we are going to, you were saying that this could be the livestock capital of the country. So on agriculture itself, you're going to see massive investments. I met with the farmers. I don't want to burden you with all of these, and we're putting in a whole range of new drainage systems similar to the one that we put in at the Hope area, that now would protect the entire Region 4 and Region 3 from Mahaika all the way to the Abari, because now we don't have to release water from the East Demerara Conservancy into the Mahaika River when the Conservancy Dam is threatened. That used to be a big problem. And until we built the Hope Canal, like how this rainy season, we had it, and it's not a rainy season, it's raining forever. Because of climate change, we've seen what has happened. We would have had to already release water from the caucus there into the Mahaika River, which is already swollen. By now, right across the Abari would have been flooded if we didn't have Hope Canal. When we built that, people were opposed to it, but now we have laid out a plan how to do the same thing in Region 5 that will protect farmlands and people's properties from the deluge that we have now because of climate change. As I was explaining elsewhere, in the month of January, historically, you would get 7 inches of rainfall. Now in a single night, we can get that. In a single night, we get rainfall, or more rain that we'll get in a whole month in the past because of climate change, global warming, climate change. So we have to prepare for that. So agriculture will get a huge boost in this region and no doubt generate more jobs. But we can't just keep the region in agriculture, because people have to be some mobility, and we have to get some additional investments into the region. So what is our thinking? How would we change that? Because not everyone wants to work in agriculture. So the key way of doing this is to create new growth poles. And the enormous activities you see around Demerara now, where we are now building a massive power plant at Wales. We're bringing in the gas pipeline that will by 2024 produce twice as much, maybe nearly 3 times as much power than we generate now from GPL, and will allow us to cut the price by 50% by 2024 to everyone. And allow us to start exporting cooking gas, which we import now. By 2024, all of that will be done. We're working on that project. And then offshore of Reed and Hoop, massive new investment in reclaiming land. That's driving investments in those 2 regions. What is happening at the mouth of the river and to service the oil and gas industry. So we are trying to shift some of that momentum to the Berbice River. We've always been trying to build a deep water port here, but it's very hard because connecting it with Brazil will make the port very feasible. So they can export through the deep water harbor here, which would save places like Roraima State in Brazil a long journey around. They're landlocked, and it's shorter for them to get to the Atlantic with their goods through Guyana than to go through Brazil. So getting goods into Brazil, the northern states, and out of the northern states in Brazil represents an opportunity for us. And that is why we want to build this deep water harbor here, but also to use it to service some of the oil and gas efforts. Once that happens, it's thousands of new jobs here. And the same energy you will see that in Georgetown. So to kick this process along, we've started moving on that too. We've taken the whole Palmyra area from Gaisupo, and we've laid it out into what we term a growth pole. Like when we built this stadium on the East Bank, we built it just across the bridge from Region 3. Now Region 3 and 4, they have about 60% of our population live in these two regions. So we're now building a stadium just across at Palmyra here that would be similar to the stadium we have at Providence, a big stadium. It could be used for cricket, football, everything else. And around there you're going to have a number of hotels being built. Already we have commitment to 2 hotels, shopping mall, etc. We believe if that gets going, which will start before the end of the year, like what's happening at Providence now, you have thousands of new jobs being generated just here across the river. And eventually this bridge would have to give way to a bridge like the one we're building across the Demerara River now, which is a high-rise bridge that doesn't need to be open, 4 lanes. This bridge will have to go on a bridge of that nature, so you can travel any hour. Eventually that will happen. We're widening the road in Region 6 and a number of things. So I don't want to go through all of those initiatives, but just to say to you that these jobs here are not temporary jobs. The opposition been trying to do that. They're saying, oh, people are not qualified. We said, we don't have to have any qualification to work in Guyana. Once you're Guyanese, that's good enough for us. Then they said we're paying people too much. Public servants are getting $70,000 a month for a whole month's work. We're giving $40,000 for 10 days' work. We ignored that too because it's not totally accurate. They're not going to support anything positive. And so we have never, it's not arrogance on the part of the PPP because we're clear where we want to go. We know what we want to achieve for our country and all of our people. That is why we sometimes ignore it right from the sidelines. And they have had a chance, and they've demonstrated once again that every time APNO is in office, our country has declined. Declined not only for PPP supporters, but for the whole country. It affected everyone, including APNO supporters. So we're not paying too much attention to that. Our people are working. When I went to Linden and launched this program, they told the people in Linden, oh, it will never happen, it's just a wild promise. When we went back and applied and hired 1,000 persons there, they found another excuse, oh, we don't want temporary jobs, we want full-time jobs. But when you're in office, they couldn't even give the people there a single job. So you'd always have that sort of thing. And this program is not, as we said before, it's not free money. You have to work for 10 days. I hope you give your very best wherever you're placed. You want to place you closer to home, and you can serve in your community as far as possible. Whether you help out at a police station or a school or in a health clinic or some other government office, that you would be placed. But you have to give your very best. We hope that all of you will also, or if not all, most of you will take the other opportunities that are available to you seriously. Please apply for scholarships through the GOLD program. We've made this promise in opposition for 20,000, but wherever we have gone, from Essequibo to Linden to Berbice yesterday, Region 6, I said if we have 50,000 people, we'll pay for their scholarship, every one of them, any of you who apply. Once you get, and there you can get into the programs, because even if you have not completed a secondary school education, there's a remedial program that we've now launched that would allow you, once you complete that program, to access a technical level or a tertiary level sort of training. So I hope that you don't see these jobs, that you utilize the part-time job to maybe supplement the income, but also use this to develop yourself and an opportunity to study too. That's one way. because where the country is going and where we're taking it would require more skilled people, more technically qualified people. And that is why we want all of our people to study, to have a better quality education. The government will support that. So these are important things. And if we have more educated people too, sometimes too often, and I hope you don't fall into this trap, everything people read or see on the social media, they start believing. And that's the worst thing that could happen in a country. Because you have so many different views. Any loony can go on social media and write or say anything. And that's not the problem. That's a democratic right of any person. Any crazy person can say whatever they want. We're a free country. But you don't have to believe everything. You have to read and judge for yourselves. So today, like you hear a lot of things about the oil and gas sector. You hear how we have a lot of money. So when we left Essequibo Coast and also in Linden, the leader of the opposition went with a flyer and said, in Linden, we're giving the people in Berbice free oil and gas money, but we're not giving them. We haven't touched the oil and gas money really yet, as yet. And it's not a lot of money. But this is the mixed messages they're giving. Then when we couldn't get traction on that, they come up with something that is so ridiculous that any sane person would not even give it any notice. However, people, because it has a resonance in social media, people say it to me wherever I've gone, oh, why not give everybody the $1 million a year from the oil and gas money? So we say, APNU couldn't afford $10,000 to keep the grant to our children a year. They said we couldn't afford it and took it away. Now they want out of government, they want you to get $1 million a year from the oil and gas money. But if you take $1 million and multiply it by 800,000, that's about 5,000 US multiplied by 800,000. That gives you $4 billion US. We're collecting $350 million a year from the oil and gas sector now. But you should give out nearly 12 times more than you collect. So it's nonsensical, but people pay attention because they don't go through the numbers. This is something we must avoid as a country. Countries that have been prone to do this sort of thing. My coffee this morning. So countries that have been prone to this sort of thing have suffered dire consequences. Look at Venezuela. Venezuela used to produce 3 million barrels of oil per day. We're now 300,000 barrels. They're 3 million barrels, and now they don't have food. People are fleeing Venezuela. And you've seen this example around the world. People think if you get some money from oil and gas, you can splurge at the beginning. And then what happens when the prices fall? You destroy the agricultural sector because you have something called Dutch disease, a concentration, and change in relative prices. And so that happens. That is around the world. Trinidad and Tobago is suffering the same consequences today. So we have to, at any cost, avoid this populist approach to managing an economy. And the PPP has had a track record of careful management in very difficult circumstances. When Dr. Jagan came into office, at that time was at the Ministry of Finance. And we couldn't find money to even pay our debts as a country because we are using more than 100% of revenue to service debt. Couldn't find. Imagine if you're borrowing to pay debts, how bad we were. And we have taken that country. Today, we are one of the lowest debt figures in the world, and this happened before oil and gas, and we're using about 6% of revenue, down from 153%. to pay external debts. And that is because we saved and we invested. We saved, we invested, and we paid off the debt, and we brought this country to a state where we were one of the fastest growing economies in this part of the world without us discovering oil. And now with oil, we have a chance to achieve what we want faster, but we still have to work very hard. And so our role is to invest this money in education, in healthcare. We want an educated population, a healthy population. A stone throw away from here, you're going to have a hospital being built, starting before the end of the year. It's a $30 million hospital, 65,000 square feet, 3 operating theaters, CT scan you can just get right here, and it will start just around down the road here, I think it is. So that sort of thing. I'm not going to tell you about the whole country and about all the highways and other plans. That is where we're taking the country. That's where we're leading it. Investing in infrastructure for the future, helping the other sectors grow, so when the oil sector declines, we can then keep our prosperity going, so you don't rely only on oil and gas. Education, healthcare, saving some of the money for the future, and that's all outlined in our manifesto. This didn't happen overnight. We just didn't think about it on the run, because we've had a long history of engagement and managing the economy. Long before we came into office in opposition, we laid out the plans that we wanted to implement once we got back into office. And so now we're busy pursuing those. And so I hope I'm not going to go on much longer. Already I'm speaking for too long. I just want to come and say that utilize this opportunity. You'll get an income. We remove all the taxes that have not put on food, on water, and electricity, on a whole range. Pesticides, fertilizer, machinery and equipment, all the fees that were increased enormously, we took them back. Here at MMA, the water charges, etc., we took them back to the old level. But in spite of all of that, we've seen an increase in cost of living. And why? It's because of the COVID. We have an overhang now. A lot of the factories in other parts of the world where we import stuff from, they're still closed. So if you try to order a car now, if you can get it in the past in 3 months, you may have to wait now 8 months. And some people have containers since January that are stuck in Jamaica because of the supply chain disruption. The price of freight moving a container from, say, China to Guyana has moved from $3,500 US to about $20,000 US. So just imagine when that gets passed on into the goods price. Some countries have banned the export of cooking oil. Malaysia, Indonesia. Now there's a shortage globally. You see the prices here is more than double in Guyana. So the war in Ukraine has caused gas prices to move, crude oil prices from $28 a barrel in 2015, it's now $120 a barrel. We removed the taxes, but still it has caused a major increase. So until now, a lot of the factories have started working back because people are coming out of COVID. So hopefully that situation over the course of time fixes itself back, that you get more production and then the prices can come down back and stuff like that. But it's a difficult period. So although the COVID has left us many, it hasn't left us. A lot of people still catching COVID, but it's not so fearsome now catching it because we can manage it. But we still have the consequences of COVID very much with us in terms of higher cost of living, etc. So we have to keep working through this. That's why we've been trying to help the fishermen, different groups, the people who live in the hinterland, especially although we removed the the VAT on hinterland travel and freight. We now are giving them some more assistance because in the hinterland it's even more expensive, the goods and stuff like that. So this hopefully, this income will help you to also supplement some of the family income. And as I said before, I hope that you make full use of it. But we're pleased that so many of you are here today. Thank you. So if anyone wants me to follow up on any issue, people come to all of these meetings and ask because they're waiting for someone to follow up on something. So many people have NIS issues and land lease, and they applied for a house lot a long time and they didn't get it. All we need from you, because I can't solve it here, and there are thousands of people. So my staff is here, and just Steve is at the back, and you give them your name and number, and we have a unit at the office of the president that will call you to find out what the issue is, and then we'll try to help as much as possible. So if any of you want me to follow up on any matter that you have of a personal nature, including roads, because we're now fixing a lot of roads. The rainy season has just damaged a lot of the roads and many were neglected. So if you have like infrastructure of that nature, so please give me a name and number, and later we can call you and follow up on this. So he's at the back. And you should help him too, yeah. The REO will help him. Okay, thank you.
So, thank you, Vice President. So, those of you who have other issues that you would like to raise that are more national, or any other issue you want to raise, then Vice President is here to listen to those people. So, who's going to be the first person? We have a mic in the crowd. Let's take the mic around.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody, especially members of the table and JAGDEO. I'm one of the persons who, from the JAGDEO's initiative, have carried out works along the city fence, planting mangroves. I never did drop out. The past government, when I approached them, especially the area, the chairman knows me well, they were always claiming that there's no money on the budget for mangroves restoration. I did a project of document paper, I circulated it all around. I've been working with NARI, and everybody knows me as from Anatolian right up. And only promises. I have invested all of my money in my lifetime. And mangroves have grown and chosen. It become forest now. This is why when our leader came to Envoy, I was the person who started the feed for the poultry industry, and it is successful. I've got an example there where I started with some black giant fowls, and the hatching eggs, they are more than 80%. The feed we're getting it from the seaside, the shrimp, and the bycatch, you know, that before they throw them away. Yeah. So it's something very feasible, rather than to import the nutrients to the feed, especially the shrimp meal. We can, ingredients can be made
on that issue, and I'm so pleased that you've stuck with the program, because this is important.
Yeah.
Mangrove restoration.
That's right.
It's helped us a lot since we launched those programs. Now we've seen a regrowth along the coast. So that's really good. On the chicken, when you use the shrimp, does it change the taste of the chicken?
Yes, it is. I have the examples right now.
No, because they told me if you put too much shrimp in the bycatch, right, and all of that into the feed, that it changes the taste of the chicken.
The taste of the chicken right now is better than the ones using the fertilizer. This is fully organic.
Oh, okay, all right. So you don't want a chicken tasting like shrimp. Unless, right? right? You don't understand what I'm saying? Because they were saying one time if you put too much of the shrimp meal in it, right?
Yeah.
It could change the taste.
Okay, you know what I've done?
Okay.
I've milled some of the mangrove seeds in the same corn and soya bean. And that is something very, very nutritious for the nutrients for the cows.
Yeah.
Especially the black-bellied sheep. I've been telling the president at UNFOAC when he launched it.
Yeah.
I did about like near 1,000 acres. I started with 80 acres of nursery, shining them like a shine body. I did challenge Mr. Holnard, and he said, Mike, it's a nice venture, but it can be risky. I went through with it. I didn't stop. I took all my money that I had from a mortgage at number 8, lands that I bought from John Barton and Alexander. And Mr. Barton told me, Mr. Mike, it's a high risk you're taking. But I always get the hope that one day money gonna come about and I'll be rewarded. I trained a lot of young people, even at UG, with Mr. Boville, when he launched that mangrove restoration project, along with Anita June and Chintamani and everything. But money wasn't there. Mr. Chim always tell me, Mr. Mike, money should be coming for when the budget are set aside.
So let us see. We should have another discussion a day. Maybe just drop in and see me.
Okay,
right? And we should arrange it. All right, then we can talk a bit more. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Good day, Vice President. Good day, Minister Nigel. There is an issue from number 2 to number 9 village. For a long time now, there is no proper internet access for youths.
Is the quality of the phone calls good?
GTMT, they up to number 2 and up to number 9. There is no.
Oh, okay. You mean no landline?
Yeah.
Oh.
Minister Nigel shows some big
Okay, because you know these are private companies.
Yeah.
They're not government companies.
No.
So we can only push them a bit. We can't tell them what to do, right?
Yeah, because the internet is poor, really poor.
And if we go with the online scholarships,
Yeah.
we have to have good quality internet. So this is a problem we're faced with. Now E-Networks has been laying fiber optic cables along, I don't know if along the coast too, in Region 5. Because I know in Essequibo Coast, they didn't have a fiber optic cable, and they laid one across the Essequibo River, and it went all the way to Charity. So now they have enough bandwidth there to do high-speed internet. And so if they started in this region, so this may be another way of getting high-speed internet.
Yeah, because I see our comments at number 5, the tower bill, but
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, we'll follow up, we'll find out.
Thank
Okay?
you.
All right, you're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Deputy the Excellency, the Honorable Minister, Regional Chairman. My name is Mohammed Bash from number 11 village. I'm here today begging, plead for a little help for my battlefield in number 11, where we have so much wayward youth. I try my best. I'm the coordinator for the police youth group, where with the commander, with myself, as the child protection officer.
So what do you need like there for right now?
Right now you got one tiger in that battlefield. You must know the situation with the battlefield.
Just to cut it?
Cut the battlefield, the pavilion is dilapidated,
Okay.
terrible thing. The situation there, to work with the youths, this is something that the police should do, and myself do it.
What we have to do, we're looking right across the country, and I know Ramson might be here today, somewhere today. But the thing is that we can't do everything at once, but we can definitely help to clear the place, keep it clean, so that then in the long run we can raise these things and put in better facilities. But what about this slashing and stuff? Doesn't the region help with this sort of thing?
Well,
So-
I in that battlefield for 1 year. I begged him once they cut the battlefield. The rest of the time he cut around the pavilion, I paid my pocket. Because we normally
All right, we're going to make sure that they do that. And then see what it takes to raise the ground too, so that we can get an estimate of that.
The reason for that, what I so interested in that battlefield, as I could tell you, I work with it, along with the child protection officer, Mr. Dalu is there, the commander. They will tell you we have, like in that village, we have 2 youths that run away from that village. Young girls, 14 years, with minor knowledge, with experience, and with the help from the police, we could I safely return back to youths to home. Today, when I go into the village office and I'm begging for a little assistance to these people, nothing from the village office, MDC number 11, nothing. Nothing. I'm begging you, please, please.
The NDCs are another set of issues that we have, but we should assist. Okay, so make sure that you talk to him. Take his number and you deal with it. All right. Okay.
All right. Anybody else has any issue they want to raise with Vice President?
All right. Well then, thank you very much. I go on to another meeting.